Welcome to Carter's Retro Reviews. You know, I have reviewed this game before, Hardcore 4x4, there you go. Just trying to make it look like it's not getting too much glare on the screen there. Anyway, I've redone the review and there are some things from the original review that I'd like to bring over that I couldn't really shoehorn into this review. And that is my brother doing an impersonation of Trey Kroger. Fucking hilarious. Here it is.
Hey guys, this is Chad from Nickelback, alright? Yes, sir! Hey, where you got it going?
And the other thing I want to fit into this review as well is that I did this comparison where I said this game was like a fat kid running or something like that, and then I played this video that I got off the net of some kid running with Chariots of Fire playing over the top of it. Hilarious. Here it is. As I'm going through and redoing all my old reviews, I was reading what I wrote originally, and instead of watching the gameplay, I actually played the game over again because I thought it couldn't possibly be as bad as all of this. I was trying to go for the hyperbole and give an over-the-top review which I falsely thought would lead to a bigger audience, or at the very least give me this unique video or viewpoint, which is more misguided than the Australian content rating system. What I said was this game sucks so much shit out of my arsehole that a vacuum couldn't possibly catch it all, even if we made the mouth a meter wide and I downed 2 bottles of Turbolax. While I will say that's a little brutal, nothing's changed. I wasn't wrong, and this is honest as fuck. It is easily the worst racing game for the Sega Saturn console. I struggle to think of a racing game that's even worse than this. Sure, they're out there, but after spending my weekend playing 4x4 games, I couldn't even bring myself to suggest this as a game we'd play. It's that bad. The most surprising aspect of this game is that it's not like it's some Saturn exclusive that got no love or was poorly managed, no. It was available on the PlayStation, PC, Saturn, and even on the PlayStation Network back in 2008. So what I'm thinking here is that we really have a dud port. This game was made by Gremlin Interactive, who also did 3 other games for the Sega Saturn: UEFA Euro 96 England, Loaded, and Actual Soccer. Let's break this game down to see what the fuck's happening, although I'd prefer to just break it down and leave it where it is in pieces on the ground for the janitor to come by and clean it up. I'll consider it a favour. Presentation is similar to Tilt, which has this blue overlay on background pictures which really dulls them out, and it might as well have been a plain blue screen for all I care. It's such a poor design, and yet this is the second time I've seen this. It wasn't a good idea and nothing's changed. Nothing really pops and everything's so dull, and my care factor before I even play a single frame in this game has to somehow rise my spirits up to I couldn't give a shit, because right now we're at not possibly give any fewer fucks. In-game presentation is purely functional, which is not bad, but again, nothing that excites me. Graphics is the only spot that I've changed my mind on a bit. They're still fucking dreadful, but they're not as bad as I made them out to be. Maybe the 2 years between the first attempt at this review and now has softened me, or maybe I've just played worse games. Distance is not particularly impressive, but it's not as bad as Formula Karts. There's some clipping in the game when I run into the sides of the track or even just bounce around on the track, and the texturing's fucking dreadful and completely lacking in detail. There's a lot of cut in as well, with the horizon being about 50 meters in front of you. Colors are nothing short of terrible. Lava, dirt, and ice are all representations of what it's supposed to be. It's not detailed enough to really feel like that's what I'm driving on or around. It'd be like having a 6-year-old hand you a drawing they drew, and they colored inside the lines. The coloring in that picture is how the colors in this game feels. Sound is the best part of the game, which certainly gives you some accurate barometer of my thoughts of Hardcore 4x4, because the sound is generic southern rock where I get to listen to such classics as I'm fucking tone deaf, and such hits as Consider This Punishment, and that hit, I'm not sure how to play guitar. It's certainly no Leonard Skinner or ZZ Top. The engine sound and other sound effects are pretty good and not too annoying, surprisingly. You know you're on to a winner when the sound effects have been the only highlight thus far. The worst point with this game is not the presentation, no. If you have a game which is presented poorly but is a ton of fun, I'm still going to recommend the fuck out of it. Graphics can also be forgiven. If it looks like dog shit, it's the stepping stone to a bad game, but it doesn't make it so. Bad sound, well, okay, fuck. A lot of games have average sound, and they're all still recommended. To have excellent sound's pretty rare anyway. But gameplay like this, phew, it really takes a certain team and a certain effort to get it this wrong. When you watch an Ed Wood film, there's an infamous expectation that it's going to be bad, and it's usually spectacularly bad. Something so bad that you feel that they've almost gone out of their way to make it that bad. That's what this game feels like. It doesn't matter which truck you select, it handles poorly and they all feel about the same. By that, I mean a lot of the time it feels like you have zero control over your car. And to fulfill the requirement of being 4x4, you get a hilly course. Like that somehow makes up for it. The tracks are uninspired at best. I know I shouldn't be comparing apples and oranges, but some friends and I have been playing Motormax on the weekend, and that game taught me shit. That's how good that game was. It wasn't just moving between high and low gear. I had to know what the fuck front and rear differentials were, and when to use them. As far as I was concerned, there were math functions I knew nothing about because I couldn't give a flying flamingo fuck about maths. It had rocks and the ability to lock in all four wheels, which impacted on how the car behaved, or going into rear and front wheel mode. And all of it made a difference time-wise. What do we have here? None of that. It's like going for an arcade experience, except the whole purpose of an arcade experience is get in and go. You're paying $1 if you're from the States or $1 here in Australia, and you don't have time to get used to the handling. It needs to be pretty much perfect enough for you to get in and worry about getting the best time. Going from left and right in the course is infuriating because the controls have a real delay on them, which makes it hard to grasp playing. There are some games where this is intentional, like Castlevania at the delay on the whip, but this game requires an immediate snap. Adding slow controls doesn't give me a realistic feeling at all. It feels like you fucked up, and now I'm just dealing with it. Coupled with the sound effects, the button layout is pretty good. It makes sense. Trying to control your truck over the hills in this course, however, is less technical efficiency and more just drive through the track at the right section with your foot on the floor and slow down on the corners. There is a real disconnect between what I'm trying to control and what I'm seeing on the screen. Replay value is pretty bad, not like you're going to come back anyway. The only reason you'll play this game is you heard my opinion on it, and now you want to see if it's really as bad as I said it was. And you'll probably spend $5 to $10 to find that out, and the best you can muster up is, well, it's not as bad as he said it was, but it's still pretty bad. And if you do that, then don't say I didn't warn you. Would I recommend this game? No. Reading what other reviewers said about this game feels like we're not even playing the same game. Electronic Gaming Monthly said, "This is 4x4 racing at its best." They must have been playing another port because if this is 4x4 racing at its best, I don't even want to know what its worst is.
Turn around, you're going the wrong way.